Alright, my Seattle fans, I wanted to throw something out to all you, just specifically you guys. So, there hasn't been too much going on, but one interesting development, and I don't know exactly if it's good or bad. Michael Crabtree chose not to run the 40-yard dash, or is rather chosen not to at, I guess the upcoming combine, or whenever he was scheduled to do it. Whenever he would have done it. I don't know exactly the details, but he chose not to run it. And I don't know if this is good or bad, because two things about Michael Crabtree. He's not fast, we know that. Everybody already knows that Michael Crabtree is good because he has great hands, he has great size, he can break tackles, but he is not fast. The other thing is he's recovering from an injury. He has an ankle injury that actually hindered him in that bowl game he played in, and maybe he's not 100% yet and doesn't want to run on it to make himself look even slower than he already is. So, what does this mean exactly? The thing is, we know he's slow, so if he ran the 40-yard dash and had a slow time, people would have been, well, we knew that, whatever. If he ran and ran fast, it would be like, whoa, maybe this guy's better than we even think he is. And then maybe the Raiders would want him, maybe actually the Raiders don't matter, but maybe the Chiefs would want him, maybe the Rams would look at him, maybe the Lions even, you know? So maybe it's a good thing for us that he didn't run, because by running that 40-yard dash, unless he runs like a 5.2, he's not going to hurt his draft stock. But by running, he could help it. It's much more likely that he could help his draft stock by running that 40. So, I don't know. What do you guys think about that? Because me, I'm kind of torn on it, because I know that he's like a 4.7, 4.6 guy. I would have liked to have seen how much, but if he ran too fast, I think Kansas City or St. Louis might have gone screw it and taken him. So we got to be careful about that. Anyway, there's a lot going on in football right now. The word is Marvin Harrison's going to get cut. Please, Indianapolis, bring him back to some small deal. I don't know what. Make it happen. I don't want to see Marvin Harrison in another jersey. So, you know, he has his Super Bowl ring. He has the numbers. Maybe he should just retire or go back to, if not, go back to the Colts. I don't want to see him in another jersey. That would get me down. There are some guys that belong in a certain jersey, and that's another thing. Philly, you guys need to re-sign Brian Dawkins. Baltimore needs to re-sign Ray Lewis. Those are two other guys I don't want to see in another jersey. It just wouldn't be right. So, I'm just saying. Oh, and speaking of the Colts, they just re-signed Kelvin Hayden to a 5-year deal, which is huge because he's a great player, quality starting corner, great for the cover 2. I don't know what kind of money he's getting. Probably not too much, because he's not a Pro Bowler, but he's very solid. And assuming they do cut Harrison or whatever, and I don't know what's going to happen with Jeff Saturday, but if they do let him go, if they restructure, if they sign him to a new deal, whatever, he's the Colts are gonna have some cap room to play with. Now they need to think about the draft a little bit, even though they have a low pick. They do need to think about re-signing whoever it is they need to re-sign. I don't know who, but I know Albert Hainsworth was saying that he kind of wanted to be a Colt. There are guys out there like Hushmanzada. Bolden is up for trade potentially. A lot of guys out there in free agency, and the Colts do not like to make free agent splashes. If you look at the great players on their team over the last 10 years, Peyton Manning, Reggie Wayne, Marvin Harrison, Edgerrin James, I guess Joseph Adai, Dwight Freeney, Robert Mathis, Bob Sanders, these guys were all drafted. But if they can afford to get Hainsworth, and Hainsworth wants to come, you can't pass that up. Nobody's passing on that team, and it's going to be hard as hell to run on them. You've got Freeney, Mathis, and Hainsworth. They don't ever need to blitz. That's what the Colts like to do. They don't want to blitz. They want to rush their front 4 and play cover 2. With Hainsworth, they could do that. So that's something. Let's see. The Julius Peppers situation is escalating. Apparently Peppers wants to be traded because the Panthers tagged him to either Tampa Bay, Atlanta, Dallas, and it's not going to happen with Dallas, I'll tell you that, because they have cap issues because of all the big money they're paying these guys, and they need to think about DeMarcus Ware, who is way more important than Julius Peppers. And some mystery AFC team. I'm guessing, like, I don't know, the Patriots, because he wants to play in the 3-4. Baltimore? I don't know. It's not going to end well. I just have this weird feeling because, you know, he doesn't want to be in Carolina. That's obvious. And it's going to be hard to get equal value for him. So I don't know what's going to happen here. Let's see what else. San Diego put the franchise tag on Darren Sproles. That's a lot of money for a backup. I don't think he's a starter yet. I think that's too much money. Maybe he thinks he's worth a lot, and you know, I'd rather franchise tag a guy than give him a 6-year, $40 billion contract or whatever. But Ravens tagged Terrell Suggs. I think he's going to bitch and moan about it probably, so they got to get a long-term deal done or trade him or something, because I don't think he's going to be happy with a franchise tender on him for another year. What else? You know, Tom Brady was saying that he looks like he's gonna be ready for the 2009 opener, and you can take that as you will. You know, I mean, it's so easy to be untruthful in that regard, and it's worth a lot. I mean, if they can convince a team to trade for Matt Castle, then more power to them, because if Tom Brady's going to be completely ready for 2009, they need to get Matt Castle out of there. But if not, they need to keep him around. And if they make the wrong choice, they're either going to wind up with no quarterback or too many quarterbacks. So I don't know how they're going to play this one, but it's difficult. Tampa Bay tagged Antonio Bryant. You know, that's pretty good, because Tampa Bay does need a wide receiver. Maybe Antonio Bryant's not a top 5 wideout. He might be a top 10 wideout. I don't know about that. Maybe, sort of. But pretty much did what they had to do. They needed to keep him around no matter what happened. There's a bunch of other stuff going on, but I think that's good for now. See ya.